and welcome. I want to thank you all for taking time out of your weekend, beginning of your weekend, to come and hopefully have a nice meal, commiserate with each other, because we're all kind of in the same boat. And I say we again because, again, y'all know I'm a parent of a senior as well. If you didn't get a chance to pick up at least one per family of one of these booklets out front, raise your hands. Who's got those? This is actually a really, really valuable little document you've got there. And I want to talk about it. Yeah, the word right there at the very top of Ducerus. I've had some conversations with you individually. As many of you may know, I am part of a national franchise, the first and only nationally franchised college planning company. We became a franchise actually in January of 2011. I have not changed my name yet to Ducerus. It's been College Planning DFW, and that's simply because to get traction for what has to go on behind the scenes at the Ducerus level, at the franchise level, is just been really, really slow. But it's really cool of what's happening now. They are getting traction. Everything is working like it's supposed to be. And in the next month or two, you'll probably see the name change from College Planning DFW to Ducerus. It's going to be, the name is the only thing that's changing, except increased services and things we're able to offer, which are going to be really, really exciting. Matter of fact, I'll share one of those things that we're able to offer as a franchise that I could not offer as an individual. One is this little document right here that's put together. I'll talk about that in a minute. But we haven't got it all finalized, but and I'm hopefully not talking too much out of turn here, but I know I always like to hear information behind the scenes. Have any of you heard of the man named Howard Berg? Nobody? Okay. Howard Berg happens to have the distinction of being the Guinness Book of Records fastest reader in the world. And he's not some freak of nature that he's able to have this gift that nobody else has. He just taught himself how to read fast and practiced and got like really, really good. You may have seen him on a year or two ago, the Obamacare things, the health care bill that was like 1,400 pages, stands up about this tall on the desk. He read through that live on one of the morning shows. Took him about 50 minutes to read through it, and he was able to knowledgeably answer questions about details in that 1,400 pages. Pretty incredible stuff, what he's able to do. Anyway, how he's associated with Ducerus is he also offers a course on how to do what he does, and it's not just read fast, but comprehend and learn it and remember it. Think about how advantageous that would be for your college student to not spend as much time reading the text and comprehending it, and how much better they would do. Not only your student, think about yourself. I mean, keeping up with trade journals, keeping up with whatever you've got to read. We're partnering with Howard to be able to offer his products and services. Again, that's not finalized. Of course, that's not going to be something free we're able to give, but it will be some kind of price attached to that. And if you would like to do that, you can. And that's something exciting, very exciting, that we're about to offer. But getting on, let's see. This is the most anxious time of the whole process. That's one of the big reasons I brought you all together in one room in one night. And those who can't be here who are watching at home. So to answer all of your questions, or hopefully most of your questions at one time, instead of answering 47 of the same questions, what about updating the FAFSA? What about, which is what's happening right now, updating the FAFSA. I'll get to that one. Before we get to that, though, I want to talk about award letters and even admissions to colleges, just so everybody can see that they're not in a boat alone. Is there anybody here who has not even heard whether they've been accepted or denied to every school that they've applied to? Is there anybody that hadn't gotten any acceptance or denied? We got one over, a couple over here, 2 or 3. And those are usually going to be some of the more selective schools that are waiting before they even send out acceptance letters. Who here has not gotten award letters from every school under consideration? Gotten every award letter? How many we got? Oh, I was expecting to see more hands than that. Has not received all the award letters that you're, okay, we have several hands, okay. Usually it's the state schools that are slower on doing that, and somebody just told me a minute ago that at 5 o'clock today they got an award letter from UNT, so those may just be coming out. That's the first I've heard about North Texas. And so you may be waiting as long as even the first week of April sometimes April 10th or so before you'll hear from everybody. Some are just really, really slow at doing that, so don't get too tense and realize that the award letter will be coming. But you do have to decide which way you want to go by May 1st. And so the ones that wait the longest to get them out, I mean, they're trying to pressure you to make a decision really, really quick. And then, and you can turn in your books, we're going to do some of this page by page, and I've got more information in what's in the book. Your financial aid award, reading the award letter is somewhat confusing, because if you glance at the award letter and they're all formatted differently. Every school, there is no standardized format for it, and some are more confusing to read than others. If you glance at them, a lot of them at the top of the page, it'll have how much it costs to go there. It'll say tuition, books, fees. Here's the total cost. And then there's a big bold number there for the total cost. And then if you skip on down, it says, here's your total award. And they're the same number. And you're going, oh my gosh, it cost $38,000 to go there. I'm getting a $38,000 award. Life is great. I actually had that conversation with one of our clients who's not here tonight, who thought they had a full ride to the school of their choice, and she was so excited, and I just went, ooh, okay, I hate to be the one, because she was like really, really excited. And they ended up getting, I mean, like a $38,000 school, and they got, I think it was $4,000 or $5,000 was actual free money from the school. So yeah, not quite the full ride that she was thinking. But how you have to look at the award letters, if it ends in the word, all the different numbers that are listed across there, if it has the word scholarship, grant, or award, those are the good ones. That's the free money. If it says anything else, then it's going to be something you've either got to pay back, or best kind of, or the best option for having to pay something back is if you have to have sweat equity, so like a work-study program. And I noticed this year, more so than in the years past, work-study for a lot of schools, they're not listing it as part of the award. There's like a separate paragraph they're putting down there that says you may qualify for about $2,000 is the average, a work-study program. And the reason I think they've taken it out of the actual award is because just because you qualify for getting that money, there may or may not be a job on campus for you to earn that money. And so those jobs are given on a first-come, first-served basis. So you want to apply early and ask early, and that, like this spring, just ask them what is their process for awarding those jobs, how do you do it, and pretty much you're going to hear you'll have to go to the individual departments and see who's got something open, and so it's going to require some legwork on your part. They're not just going to hand it over to you, but you can at least inquire and see what is that school's policy for doing it. And let's see, and I'm going to have to go back and forth with the glasses here. Merit aid, let's see, awards there. Any question on awards and reading a financial award letter? Because the next, and switching over to the next page, is going to be, make sure I'm not skipping anything on my notes here. Yes. A very good page, an award page 7, the award comparison worksheet, where you can compare schools side by side, going through and writing down the cost. I mean, what is their cost of attendance? How much did you get from each of those schools? And so you can see on one sheet of paper how much it's going to cost you out of your pocket to attend that school. Pretty self-explanatory on that. And flipping over the next one, and the one that we're all about to get to, and I'm about to get this question 100 times, is about negotiating or appealing. The word that we have here in this in our guide says negotiation. Don't ever, ever, ever say the word negotiate when you're talking to a school and wanting them to give you more money. You would like them to reconsider the award that you were given. It's not a negotiation process. That will turn them off really, really quick. If you want to appeal or have them reconsider or negotiate, you've got to have a reason. You can't just say, hey, I want more money. There's either got to be a change of circumstance, and that could either be job layoff, divorce, health, some kind of change of circumstance to why they should reconsider giving you some additional aid. Or it could also be, I've got to see how we're wording it here. just if the school that you really, really wanted to get into, or that you really wanted to have your number one choice, you could have them just do a reevaluation. Maybe there's something that's happened positively. You got a better SAT score. You earned another award that they don't know about. Your GPA is up. Something to make you look better than what they may be aware of. Finally, the way to appeal, to possibly successfully appeal, is that schools do like to compete, or schools want the best students, and they will compete with each other if they're in the same ballpark for a good student. And the example I've used in here, I think I used TCU and Baylor. Those are two schools that are in the same ballpark of wanting to attract the same type student. And so maybe you really, really wanted to go to Baylor, but TCU gave a better award. And so you can approach Baylor and say, hey, you know, we'd love to come here, but, you know, we got a better award from TCU. Is there anything you can do? And you would want to include the award letter from TCU so they know you're not bluffing. I mean, you can say, you know, that if we've got to deal with the financial reality. And so that is a viable way to go about appealing. And the other ones, and they're all listed here, and what makes this so valuable, wait, before I get to that, let's see, that's the steps. And if you do choose to appeal, how to go about doing it. First, you want to write a letter, not an email, a hard copy, snail mail, not like a snail mail. How you send it is vital. FedEx, that gets more attention than any other type of mail. So an email is can more likely be ignored. You want it to arrive appropriately. You want to FedEx your letter, be modeled after one of the examples that are in here, and address it both to the financial aid office, director of financial aid, and copy that same one and send it also to the director of admissions. And you want to put CC at the bottom of the letter so that they know the director of admissions is getting it. And the reason you want to do that, financial aid, they're looking at the numbers, they're the bean counters. Admissions, they're the ones that want the good student. So if you've got a good student, you want to make sure admissions is aware of what you're asking financial aid. And if you can't be appeased in the financial aid department, you can go back to admissions and saying, hey, same thing, we'd like to come here, but here's what's going on in our lives. And the other possibility of getting extra money from the school is if your student has an additional talent that maybe hasn't been recognized by that school at that point. If they play an instrument, but they're not going to school to be a music major, but if they could do something in the band. I mean, we've got that in our household. My daughter Mackenzie is in theater, and one of the schools that she's applying to, she went up and just did a theater audition, not to be a theater major, but she ended up getting a $2,000 scholarship. She just has to be in one or two productions or audition or something. I'm not sure what the criteria is. But just to be involved in theater, and we got a couple $1,000 extra. So if there's anything like that you can do as a way to get a little extra money. And the last one it says here in the book, the possibility is to do a visit to the dean's office if everything else fails. Yeah, that's kind of grasping at straws, and it says in here sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If you hadn't succeeded at the financial aid office or the admissions office, unless you got something for the dean to consider that the other people will not have considered, that may be just, again, grasping. The next pages are the ones that are actually pure gold, and we've never released these forms before. These are basically the templates to writing an appeal letter, and just depending on the situation you have, is a letter set up for that. I would strongly hope you would not share the information that's in this booklet with anybody who is not a client, and it's not for our protection, it's for your own protection, because if you want to write an appeal letter to a school and you hand this to a friend and they write the same appeal letter and it looks like a form letter if you copy it word for word, and it's not going to be effective. And so please, keep this to yourself. This is extraordinarily valuable insight here. If you want help in writing an appeal letter, because I know sometimes I've talked about in the earlier appointments that I will do that for you, I'm still happy to do that for you, but I think it comes off stronger if you're writing it from the heart, from yourself, and let me look at it, let me critique it, let me tweak it, because I have a certain style of writing. It's going to look similar every letter I write because it's just my style. If you write it in your style, and then let me look it over before you send it in. And please, if you do write any appeal letters, please don't send them in without letting me look it over. Because there may be some things, some minor things you're doing that I could help with. And let's see, what else have we got going? I've still got lots more other stuff, appeal letters. And yeah, one of the appeal letters is if there's a change in circumstance, that your income tax shows a whole lot more income than what is actual, maybe because you had a buyout or you had a severance package or something and it just artificially inflated it one year, and it tells you how to go about showing what the reality is on that. And let's see, getting through. Any questions about appeals? Okay, yay, cool. Moving on then. And most of you, following this guideline here, I'm already on page 15, have done college visits. Highly, if you haven't been to all of your top choice schools on a school day, I highly encourage you doing that sometime in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Please don't let the first time you've been on the college campus that you're attending be when you're pulling the U-Haul behind you. That's a bad idea. And they go, ooh, the website doesn't look like this, and you know. And yeah, being the matter of fact, that's where our daughter is right now. She did drive down this morning all by herself, 3 hours on the road, which was just kind of, you know, tense for us. She's never driven that far. Drove down to Southwestern, and she went to a class or two this morning, and we gave her an assignment. She's got to go to financial aid. She's got to go to admissions, and she's got to, you know, go do her thing so she can try to get more money. She already told us we can't get any more money. She did try to go and do that, but again, you don't know unless you ask. And again, and the way to do that, if you go down on a school day and you're just asking, going to the financial aid office or the admissions office, is there anything else I may qualify for, our daughter may or son may qualify for? You're not saying, can you give me more money? Just, is there anything possible? And more times than not, you're going to get a no, but you're not going to know unless you go and ask the question. And you may even follow it up if after May 1st, if you have students that you've awarded money to, if they end up going somewhere else, is there a time, if I came in June or I came in July, would that be a time that there might be something that I might qualify for? Again, it's kind of the squeaky wheel gets oiled, and not to be annoying, yeah, please don't cross that line, but just you're genuine, you really want to go to that school, and you're trying to make it work financially, and so you're just wanting whatever help they can provide. Any questions on that? Okay. And by the way, as I'm doing this, is there more dessert and stuff back there, Sue? Okay, are we good? Okay, if anybody needs dessert, you can feel free to get up and do that. And there's still lots of pasta left. And if you need to appeal a decision, admissions decision, if you got denied, it's extraordinarily hard to turn a no into a yes. If you're waitlisted, that's kind of like in limbo. If you really want to go to that school, there are some steps to take. Is anybody on a wait list of a school that they want to get into? We do have one. Okay, that's SMU, I know, because we talked about that earlier. Okay. Yeah, if you do get waitlisted on a school that you do want to get into, there are some steps to take. First off is to notify the school that you are interested, and that that's not one of the 4th or 5th choices on your list, that's really a high school on your list. Let them know why you want to go to that school, and it's not because they have a great football team or because you were brought up Aggie or whatever the thing is. You've got to have a specific reason, because there's a professor there who won a Nobel Prize and you would love to be able the opportunity to study under him. They like that kind of thing. Or because the program that you want to study is world renowned, and so not just because they got a great football team and that kind of stuff. And again, it's even hard to get off a wait list, but it's easier to get off a wait list than it is to turn a denial into an acceptance. And but letting them know you're interested is the main thing on that. I'm sorry, I can't take my glasses off and look at this. Let's see. And also, when you send a letter, doing the wait list, you send them a letter and it can state everything. And it's okay if you wanted to include a little photograph of a family photograph. But and again, this could include other appeal type letters. But don't get gimmicky. Don't send a photograph of everybody dressed in the school colors, and the banners and waving, and that doesn't impress them. But just to show them that you're a real person and would like to get to that school, that's great. Now, at the very back page, some things on page 19, Something you really want to be aware of is something called FERPA. FERPA is called the Family, what I got to read it here, Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. It's the HIPAA that colleges have. Once your child enrolls in a post-secondary institution, even if they're still 17 years old, you as the parent have no right to any of their information. According to FERPA, yes. Doesn't matter what your age is. Doesn't matter that you're paying the bill. You have no right to their information unless you have them sign a waiver that allows the school to talk to you about tuition that's due or grades or whatever else. So you've got to go to the school website, and some schools are better at pointing this out to people. Even though this has been a law for actually a few years, it's been in the last year or so where we've noticed it, the schools are acting on it and following it, because I haven't done it much this year so far, but I do call the schools on the family's behalf, and sometimes I may not tell them I'm dad, but they just assume, I say I'm calling about a certain student, and they kind of assume I'm dad. And a lot of times they have talked to me, but there's been a few times that they've shut me down, even though I have Social Security number and everything that any kind of identification needed. They say, no, you're not the student. And so, yes, Sue-Ann. They've already, they sent you the form, yes. The child has to sign off. Correct. And say that your student isn't obligated to sign that form. If they choose not to sign that form, your retirement fund just skyrocketed. You don't have to fund their college. Yes. Okay. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, college can get cheap really quick if they choose not to sign that form. Cheap for the parent. Really expensive for the student. So yeah, FERPA is something you got to become very familiar with, and just go ahead and be proactive. Whatever school, well, you can wait till you decide on which school it is, and just get to the website, get the form signed, get it to where it needs to be, and so you can have free communication with whoever you need to talk to on that. As far as taking loans out for schools, you'll see on every single award letter, unless you have a full ride, that one of the awards, well, no, actually it's not the award, they'll say the Parent Plus loan is separated from the awards, and it points you to the Parent Plus or the website, and you want to go click here to accept. And the Parent Plus loan, I've had this conversation with some of you individually, is the federal program, 7.9%, 4 to 5 points up front, which means 4 to 5% of whatever you're borrowing that year they charge as a fee in order to pay them back at 7.9%. And the reason the schools point you towards that particular loan is because it's very easy for them to implement. You go to the federal website and you log in, and you have to go through what's called entrance counseling, which is basically a few pages you've got to read, and you've got to acknowledge that this is a loan, that you acknowledge you have to pay it back. And also, just to let you know, when you take out those federal loans, you are going to pay those monies back regardless of what happens in your life financially. You can file bankruptcy, doesn't matter, you're paying back those loans. And that's what the entrance counseling is telling you. But what makes it easy for the school is that you go on there and you can either, after filling out scarily little information, just your personal information is all you got to put in there, and you can click on a button that says you want to borrow either a certain amount, say $20,000, or you want to borrow whatever it is the school needs. And so it's just easier to press the button, whatever the school needs, and the school gets to the federal website, the money gets zapped, transferred, and then you're on the hook for those payments for 10 years. There's another program that's much more advantageous that schools aren't going to share with you because it's not as easy for them to implement. And I've shared it with some of you here. It's a state program. If your student is going to school in the state of Texas, is one of the criteria, and as long as you're a Texas resident, you can apply for the college access loan. College access loan to the state of Texas is 5.25% interest rate. It's only 3 points up front. It is credit-based, and so as is the federal one. So I mean, if you have really, really bad credit, you may not get the 5.25% rate. And if you fall short, if you get behind on payments, you can get cut off, just like you can in the Federal Parent Plus loan program. So again, it's important to understand the path you're going down as you start. In addition to the college access loan, there's another state program that's for state schools, and now I'm getting mixed signals from private schools. I've heard two different stories this year. It's called the Be on Time loan, and it's the letter B, and it's on the back page. It's on page 19 of your handout. It's the letter B, on time. The maximum you can borrow under that is $7,400 per year, and the cool thing about the Be on Time loan, if you graduate on time, which means in 4 years for most programs, if it's a 5-year program, as long as you graduate on time, that loan becomes a grant, and there's no payback obligation. Ah, way cool. Now, there are limited funds for this, and it is given out normally on a financial need basis, but you've got to check with the school. And again, it's because it's state funded, not everybody can get that loan. And the mixed signals I'm getting from the private schools, I've talked to 2 different private schools just in the past couple of weeks. One says they won't know what their allocation is for the Be on Time loan until June or July. The other school told me that private schools are no longer included with the Be on Time program. And then while we were on the line with them, we both went to the website, the Be on Time, and I found a page that says, yes, public and private institutions offer this. And so we don't know if that's just an old page or if that is actually true now. Somebody was about to say, Van.
Yeah, Doug, is that only, like the other one was state program, so it was only for Texas state schools? Is this one the same way?
Yes, the Be on Time is definitely for state, and I think, again, this is more restricted, I think, to state schools, not just schools in the state of Texas. College Access, yeah, most every school in the state subscribes to the program. Most of the private schools do. There may be some private schools that don't honor the College Access loan. Ask them. And yeah, they won't tell you anything about it, but when you mention it, they go, oh yeah, this is what happened to me. I said, well, what about the College Access loan? Oh yeah, that's much better terms. And I said, well, why don't you tell people about it? Well, and this was the answer I got. Well, the College Access loan is credit-based, and so you might get turned down for it. And then I can tell she was grasping for straws. And I said, well, okay, well, thank you very much. Let's see, what else was I going to share with you in here? Yes? No. That's a state program for state schools here in Texas. Thank you. Yes, thank you for that. Not the College Access or the Be on Time. The federal programs obviously do. And for that, and again, this is in your guide to see information on the College Access loan or the Be on Time loan program. Go to hhloans.com, and again, that's on your page 19. And also the Be on Time. If you don't graduate on time, you take too long to get to the program, it's a 0 interest payback. Way cool. Now, just again, and everybody's thinking, okay, here we go. We got something good to grab onto. Last year, we had no clients that were able to get the Be on Time loan because there were no new people taken into the program because of the state budget cuts this last year. This year, I believe, of what I'm just talking to some schools, that they probably will take on some students. And so, yeah, you go ahead, contact your schools, especially, I mean, that your top choice schools. Ask them if they participate. Ask them how they decide on who gets the money. And I've talked to different people, even in Austin, the Be on Time program, and they are confused as to who gets the money. One person said it's strictly need-based, and another person said it's for academically gifted. So check with the school, ask them what their criteria is for administering that money, and if they're going to get any money, and when they will get the money, when will they know. And yeah, that's my advice on that. Any questions so far? About to get to FAFSA stuff here, which is where we are right now. Everybody's all anxious, and we filed the FAFSAs in January and some of you in February for you. And then now you're all getting the emails from FAFSA saying, hey, you need to go in and update your FAFSA. We haven't received all your information. You need to get your 2012 taxes updated. The emails you get from FAFSA.com or FAFSA themselves, they're not nearly as important as an email you may get from the school. You don't have to forward me the FAFSA emails, but if you do get something from the school asking for something, and if you don't know what it is, please get that to me, and I'll look at that. We're in the middle of updating the FAFSA. You know, there's two things. There's inputting the new numbers for your 2012 taxes, and then there's something called the FAFSA, the IRS verification tool. It takes 3 weeks for, after you file your taxes electronically, for them to be available, for them to be transferred to the FAFSA website. And now some of you have seen your taxes and it says it takes 48 hours for something to happen on the IRS side. I'm not sure what that is, but I do know it does take a full 3 weeks. I've been trying it at 2 weeks and I'm not getting it to connect. So it's 3 weeks after you file your taxes that we can go in. I go into that FAFSA website and I can link directly from the FAFSA website to the IRS website and transfer the numbers. It takes 3 weeks for it to transfer, for me to be able to transfer it. And, oh yeah, so the school can see that the numbers on the FAFSA are verified. And this is actually a brand new technology. It began last year. Normally, for the school to verify that your FAFSA was accurate, they would ask you to send in a request to the IRS to get a verification form back from the IRS. Then you send that form to the school. You would think it would be just simpler to send your tax return to the school, but they, I think, realized that it's possible to type up a new tax return just for the school and send something that's not the official thing. By having the IRS send it to you and you send it to the school, they know that's what you actually sent to the IRS. And this does the same thing electronically. It links the two things together. It just takes 3 weeks for it to happen. It's not as vital that gets done on a really fast basis as it is getting the FAFSA done originally. So yeah, you can kind of relax there. And I know there's several of you that have sent me your tax information. I have not got it updated on the FAFSA. That's on my list to get done by the 1st of this next week. And I'm going to go ahead and update it, even if we can't verify it yet, because not every school will even ask for verification, although most do. And if you don't get asked for verification, then everything's fine. If for any reason your real taxes, your real numbers are lower, and we've had a few people like that, than what we had estimated, then we definitely make sure I'm aware of that when you send them to me and say, hey, our adjusted gross is a little bit lower or a lot lower than what we had guessed. So yeah, we'll want to get in and adjust those numbers so that you can qualify for more money.
How is that the same as the IDOC thing?
IDOC, okay, IDOC, is that the same as the IDOC emails he's getting? IDOC, if you're applying to schools that require the CSS profile, that's a whole other verification thing, and the IDOC stands for Institutional Documentation Service. And the purpose of the IDOC is supposed to be a time-saving thing where you send all of your financial documents to one source, to that service, and they send them out to all the schools that you've applied to that are CSS profile schools. But when you only file to one school, that CSS profile is just another pain in the bottom to have to send it to them, and then they send it back to the school, one school that you've got. And theirs is a much more rigid process. There's a cover sheet involved, and there's about 50 little bubbles that you've got to bubble in which ones apply, all the documents that apply to you. Then you send all those documents into IDOC, and then they'll distribute them to the schools that need to get that.
So do you recommend that we don't do that if we just have a few schools?
No. If the school do I recommend not doing that? No, you've got to follow that step if you're interested in that school. Yes. They want verification, again, to know that those are accurate numbers. And so, yeah, we've got to follow through with that. And any other questions about anything college planning-wise or between now and May, where we are in this process? Oh, thank you for reminding me. I said I was going to mention that tonight. If you do have any private scholarships that you have been awarded, you may have already been told to do this by the person that awarded it to you or somebody. Thank you notes are huge. You've got to write a very heartfelt thank you note. And if it's to go a step beyond what they're asking for, if it's a one-year scholarship, write them a note immediately saying thank you for the award. Write them a note again at Christmas time. Tell them about your first semester. Write them a note again in the spring. Let them know how you finished up the freshman year, especially if it's only supposed to be a one-time gift. a one-time award. If you stay in contact with them like that, your odds of getting that award again, even though you're not supposed to, go up dramatically. Most kids don't stay in contact. It's amazing, and just for kids to understand the power of a handwritten, ideally, handwritten thank you note has on adults. People that give out, especially people that give out money all the time, they give out lots of money, lots of different ways. They may get a few thank you letters at the very beginning, right after the person gets the award, but to get a follow-up at Christmas time and a follow-up in the spring, yeah, that's a huge one. Thank you again, Sue Ann, for reminding me of that. Anything else? Okay. Then that's, oh yes, okay.
I'm just curious as to when we're going to start taking money out of our pocket and giving it to the college. When does that start?
Thank you, okay. Small details. Oh, don't worry about that. No, that's going to be over the summer, and that'll be actually closer to August. And when you start filling out, if you're doing either the college access loan or if you're under the Parent Plus loan, that will be like August, September, or maybe possibly late July. But it's going to be more the time that you're about starting college. You're not having to, and colleges, as you'll find, well, the different loan programs, if it's the federal loan programs, they've got their own payment plan. But you may be awarded some monies from loans directly from the school, or they may give you the option of paying out what you owe over either 4, 5, or 6 months, not 6, usually 4 to 5 months at the most. And so you might be able to make those monthly payments without taking out the loans. Again, every school does it differently. Does that answer it? Okay. Thank you. Thank you all very much. And please, I would like, oh yes, Mr. Parker.
I've been noticing that there's been a lot of, when I look on the emails I've been getting for follow-ups and stuff like that, there's a lot of the time there's, you need to accept, you need to accept the scholarship money or so you can get in housing and do stuff like that. When does the, I guess, acceptance for admission process and scholarship process really begin?
I say that wonderful. That's a wonderful. I should have covered that. Yeah, colleges are wanting you to commit to them early, and so then they know they've got you, and they're not going to lose you, and so they'll say, hey, you need to accept now. And they do dangle housing over there. You got to send us a deposit to say you're interested in the school, then we can send in a housing deposit. It's okay to send in housing deposits to your top 2 or 3 schools. Most of them are refundable up until May 1st. And some of them, if the housing is limited, you do want to get those deposits in as early as possible, so you do have your choice of housing on there. They'll also send you things just insinuating you need to commit to the school as quickly as possible. Like you need to accept this scholarship. You've got 2 weeks, or you got to accept it by March 31st. You got to accept it by some date before May 1st. You can go ahead and accept that scholarship. It does not obligate you to going to that school. They just want to know if you're still interested in that school. If not, they're going to give the money to somebody else. So if the school is still one of the top ones on your list, go ahead and accept the scholarship. It does not obligate you. You're not committing to the school. Thank you for asking that.
Just to clarify, that
okay.
means that accept the scholarship, not necessarily the general acceptance.
Yeah, general acceptance is May 1st. Most every school is going to be May 1st. And also, if there's a school, if you did not get into your top choice school, that's something that was in my notes here. Every year, colleges have to play a game of figuring out how many kids to accept, and they got to figure out the percentage, how many are actually going to attend. I mean, TCU talks about that they have, I think, they get 14,000 applications for 1,700 slots. Well, they don't accept 1,700. They've got to do the mathematical calculation. Do we accept 3,000, 3,500 in order to fill the 1,700 slots? Sometimes schools miscalculate, and they have spots that are available after May 1st. And there's a list that comes out about the 10th of May from the National Association of College Admissions Counselors with a list of schools and the spots that they have available. And these aren't like second-rate schools. I mean, some of your really high-end schools can have available slots. And if that happens, yeah, they're losing. It's kind of like a cruise ship. If they sail, a cruise ship may be a bad example at this time. or a hotel room even. I mean, once the night is over, the hotel room's not filled. I mean, they've lost the revenue and they don't get the kid. So even though you're really late to that school, there may be some money for you because they want to fill the slot and they'd rather get some money than no money. And that, again, that's making decisions to really, that's making decisions after May 1st. And so you had to have committed to one school May 1st, and if you want to change schools, you may lose some deposit money. But just to let you know, if you're curious about what schools may be available mid-May, yeah, let me know and I will send you the list of availability. This will be listed from schools around the country, not just something local. Anything else? Okay. Yes, okay.
So when's the latest that you would hear from the school in terms of them offering financial aid or something?
Getting an award letter of April 10th or so is about the latest I normally see. A year, was it last year or year before last, when the state school, all the funding budget cuts, some schools did not send out award letters till after May 1st because they had no idea what they had to award. But usually April 10th is a late award letter. Anything else? Okay. Oh, yes, Sue Ann, okay. Okay, as the federal budget cuts that are going, the sequestering that's going on right now affecting schools, I have not heard any direct effect on colleges as far as financial aid because the financial aid was already set aside prior to that. And now this is, I think most of those cuts are just salaries, ongoing things. Yeah, because the schools already have that money set aside. Now, if it stays sequestered until the next school year, then there may be some things going on. I don't think it'll last that long. Anybody else? Okay. Y'all have some really good questions and some things I just needed to remember to cover. And I appreciate your attendance tonight, and I hope y'all hang around and talk to my video guy or just talk to each other. Again, commiserate. You're all in the same boat together. Thank you all for coming.